WVGA.
All right, back on the morning drive on this Wednesday morning. I was going to give you a weather update and tell you that there's a 30% chance of rain, but if you're in our part of town, there's a 100% chance of rain as it is now storming outside of our Black Crow studios. So be careful. Grab that umbrella before you head out to work this morning or school or wherever you're going. You're liable to get wet. About a 30% chance of rain today throughout the day. So maybe this will move through and the rest of the day will be nice. Your high expected to be around 90 degrees, but very stormy outside this morning. So take a little extra time getting to work or school. Don't storm through in the rain. You know better than that. It is Wiregrass Wednesday. The first Wednesday of every month is Wiregrass Wednesday here on the Morning Drive. And always with us this morning, Angela Hobby from Wiregrass Georgia Technical College. Angela, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you, and thanks for bringing your special guest today.
I'm glad she agreed to come. I keep roping her into doing these things for me. Eventually, she's going to start telling me no.
Well, we're glad she didn't today.
Exactly.
Beth Candelario is also in studio with us. Beth, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Great to see you. And you've got a very special kinship with the good folks at Wiregrass Georgia. You know right where it is, without a doubt.
Absolutely. It's right down the road, and we practically live there at this point.
Now, tell us, you have 5 boys.
I have 5 sons. Mm-hmm.
God bless you. First of all, because as a father of 2, I go, wow, 5, really. But I know that makes for a busy home. But also, you got your kids have kind of found a second home at Wiregrass, Georgia. Tell folks a little bit about the kids, your sons that you have involved there.
Well, out of my 5 children, 3 of them have had the opportunity to either go through Wiregrass or are at Wiregrass. All of my children started at Wiregrass as high school students. The state of Georgia allows for certain financial aid for high school students starting at the age of 16, and so my 2 oldest sons began taking classes at Wiregrass because they were homeschool students and they were tired of mom. They said, we really want a little more, and I said, well, let's give this a shot, see what you think about taking it, and they just loved it. I have one who's technical minded, and I really don't think he's going to leave Wiregrass ever because he just keeps finding new programs exciting. And my second son has graduated high school and has moved on. He only took academic classes, and he transferred from Wiregrass as he graduated high school to Valdosta State, and he acquired enough credits to graduate, and he's a sophomore. He started his first year at VSU as a sophomore, not a freshman.
Wow.
So, and now my third son, who's a junior this year in high school, he's beginning to take classes at Wiregrass, and none of my kids have complained. So
they all like it.
They love it.
Fantastic. And you got 2 more coming. So.
I got 2 more coming.
That's good news to Angela's ears. She likes to hear that. So, what is it do you think that they've liked so much about Wiregrass, Beth?
Well, first of all, they liked the challenge. As I said, I homeschooled the 2 older ones, and they wanted more to begin with. And I'm not technically minded, so for my oldest son, it was really important for him to find somebody to teach him something I couldn't teach him.
Right.
But for my second son, who has really high goals academically, he was really excited to begin that journey. Both of my boys, my older boys, have loved Wiregrass because every instructor they had was really, I don't know if passion is too strong a word, but they enjoyed what they were teaching, and they gave themselves to the students. They were available all the time. You know, after class, you got a question. They weren't in a hurry to leave the classroom. If you were willing to do your part, they were willing to do their part. And my son, who's now at VSU, has said to me several times, he said, I don't know why people think Wiregrass is like, it's so easy, and then VSU is so much harder. He says, I was totally prepared to be here at VSU because some of the teachers are exactly the same. They teach at both colleges.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
Yeah.
And he said it's the same strenuous college idea. You know, Wiregrass is no different with their academics. So he said, I'm totally prepared to be here. I was nervous. I don't know why. I've been doing this for a long time. This is easy. So.
Well, and that's, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that same thing, and I'm sure you have even more, Angela, and that's because Wiregrass does a great job of preparing you, whether you're going to another educational institution or if you're going into the workforce or whatever it is. Every every post-secondary school has its strengths and weaknesses, but I do think what Beth hit on is true. At the Wiregrass, there is that time that the instructors can spend with students, more one-on-one time, more flexibility oftentimes, and I think that leads to a better experience.
It helps, and it's not for everybody. I mean, just like with VSU, I mean, we all kind of have to find our niche when it comes to education. You know, our biggest thing is we want people to understand that education is an option, whether you are looking at a big four-year school like VSU or you're looking at us or even Georgia Military. You have options, and there are affordable options for you out there. You know, and especially with Beth and is the high school perspective. You know, she's homeschooling her students, and so I think a lot of times our homeschool parents don't really necessarily know that their students can start at the age of 16 as well and do the early enrollment options. And we actually have 4 different ways students can start college at the age of 16. They can do what's called dual enrollment, which is where we're actually in a high school and we're teaching some courses that we've coordinated with the high school to teach. Joint enrollment is where those students sign up, and basically they're a high school student and a college student. They come out to us either in the afternoons or at night. And then there's the Excel program, which they actually take their English, their math, their biologies, their sciences, or whatever, as a college student with us, and it counts towards their high school credits. And then there's the Move On When Ready program, which is basically where you have a student, and it happens. I mean, it doesn't happen often, and not every student's prepared, but there are some high school students who just really are at the level where they need to go ahead and move on, where high school is not enough for them. And so the Move On When Ready program is a statewide program where they can with their parent and counselor's permissions can go ahead and move on directly to college. And so we do have a lot of options, and the small class sizes I think help.
Absolutely.
You know, I think it really does help. We do have the small class sizes, and like she said, the instructors do have a little bit more time to where they can spend with the students. So it is definitely a good place for a transition, but also a good place for those skills. I mean, we teach programs that aren't taught anywhere else in South Georgia, you know, and those skills are needed. I mean, one of the things we keep hearing is that a lot of the jobs out there don't require a 4-year degree, but they do require some sort of college education. And, you know, a 2-year degree is a great place to start, then get that job, and then go on further.
Sure, exactly.
You know, that's something, I really like to explain to people. All of us out there at Wiregrass, we all have advanced degrees.
Right.
You know, so it's not that we don't want people to go on and get advanced degrees, but we can help you get in a job and afford to go get that advanced degree.
Exactly.
Because once you get up there is no financial aid.
Exactly right.
So true.
Angela Hobby and Beth Candelario talking about Wiregrass Georgia Technical College on this Wednesday morning. Again, it's 73 degrees outside and raining right now. Hopefully, not where you are. But and also the specialized programs. You have over 100 programs at Wiregrass Georgia Technical College. So if there's a specific area of study that somebody wants to be involved with, you mentioned one of your kids very technical minded, and they have everything from fire science to computer science to horticulture. There's so many different options. If you say, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do, well then you have that option right there to jump right into it. So
that's true. Yeah, my son started out with printing and graphics. And as the college has been evolving over the last couple of years, that particular major has kind of expanded some, and he's enjoyed that. But I think he's had his fill of that, and now he's looking at the computers, and now they're looking to bring in engineering. He's like, oh, engineering. Obviously, he doesn't really know where he wants to go, but he's excited about the opportunity to at least learn a little here, learn a little there, and I keep reminding him, I'm like, you have to get one degree. Financial aid will only pay for one
platter.
degree.
That's right. It's a sample platter of
you
education.
can stay there as long as you want, but you're going to have to get a job to pay the rest.
Well, and I'm sure that happens every day. Somebody comes out getting into one subject and sees something else that interests them that they may have never thought of before,
right?
And then they can move right over. So
there's a lot of that, and there's also a lot of complementary programs. For instance, if you think about the engineering program, which we are getting ready to start, a pre-engineering program that will be a 2+2 transfer to Southern Polytech in Atlanta, so they can do 2 years pre-engineering with us and then move on to in specialized fields like mechanical engineering. Well, then there's a complementary program under drafting, because we do mechanical drafting, as a track. So you think, and like she said, printing and graphics. Well, in printing and graphics, they do some, they do all the Adobe design suites and stuff. Well, then that's also used a little bit in our web design program. So you think if you take those two things and mix those two programs together, you've got a really strong skill set.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what employers are looking for.
Right.
Exactly. There's also a new financial aid program, Angela, I want to ask you about. And this is pretty new as well.
Brand new. We just announced it yesterday. the federal Pell Grant program, which most people, if you have a college student or have been to college, you know what the Pell Grant program
My hand is raised.
It is. It's a federally funded program that helps students who otherwise can't afford to go to college with and it's a grant, so it's not paid back. Well, they're looking at whether or not they need to make some changes to the regulations, and so they opened up an experiment, and Wiregrass, along with one other technical college in the state, got chosen to do this experiment, and we get to start it now. Basically, one of the regulations is if you have a bachelor's degree, you can't get the Pell Grant.
Right.
So with the economy taking the turn the way it did, we saw a lot of people who were losing their jobs, were laid off, were coming back to try to find a new skill set. Well, they couldn't get financial aid because they didn't qualify for Pell. So Pell, they've decided to do an experiment with a handful of programs to see if it is necessary and worthwhile to help the employment rate to let people with bachelor's degree go back into what they consider high demand career fields. So we have an experiment going on with some of our programs that if you have a bachelor's degree, you may possibly be able to get the Pell Grant. Then also some of our short-term programs, the Pell Grant didn't let you use the funds for short-term quick certificates like our commercial truck driving. Mm-hmm. So now under this experiment, we're going to be able to offer the Pell Grant to students who are enrolled in commercial truck driving. It is a lottery because it is an experiment. Right. So they have to apply for the Pell Grant, be approved for the Pell other than those few regulations, like otherwise they would have been approved if it wasn't that program or that they had a bachelor's degree, and their name will be entered into a 50-50 drawing, and they'll have the opportunity to possibly get the Pell Grant, which before they didn't even have the option.
Right.
So this is a good thing because you may end up getting your education paid for. It's a 50-50 chance that they're going to pull your name and you're going to get picked for this. So
basically, we're saying that if you think you may be eligible for it, just call, find out more information about it.
We have we actually put a press release on the homepage on the website, so it kind of goes into more detail and explains it. And then our financial aid office can talk to you about it because it's only for certain programs. It's for about 8 of our programs, and so it's only if you're interested in going to one of those 8 programs or so. But again, it's an option that we didn't have before. The experiment's going to last about a year, so we've got several semesters coming up where you can try to get in on this and see if it works for you.
Wiregrass.edu, you can check out the website there. And also remember, if you missed the getting in on the fall semester, the B term of the fall semester for certain programs, that starts October the 22nd.
It does. Not every program is going to have classes offered, but we are going to have a short mini session that'll run October 22nd through December 13th. So if you missed that fall start date, you still have a chance to take a couple of classes before next semester. So
you can check that on the web at wiregrass.edu. It's got all the information that you may need, and that's probably a website that Beth has been to one of times before. So.
It's not my homepage, but
it's close to it.
It's close to it.
Again, Beth Candelario and Angela Hobby from Wiregrass Georgia Technical College joining us on Wiregrass Wednesdays. If you have any questions about anything that you've heard this morning, you can find out more at the website. It's got all the contact numbers there, and it may be the answer to what you're looking for. Again, over 100 programs, and a lot of them transfer over, so you can get a good start on your college career by starting it at Wiregrass Georgia Technical College. Beth is the living proof that can happen in many different ways. So, and you still got 2 kids that are
two more coming up.
So
they're actually looking forward to the opportunity.
I'm sure they are,
because nobody's been complaining, so that's a good thing.
And when you get a recommendation from a sibling, then that goes a long way. So
sometimes depends on what we're talking about.
I have 4 brothers and sisters. I know what you're talking about. So, but we're glad it's worked out so far. So, and I'm sure we'll continue to. So, Beth, thanks so much for joining us. It's good to meet you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Angela, always good to see you. We'll see you again next first Wednesday of next month.
Yep.
Or not, if not before. We'll lots of good stuff coming up. Again, wiregrass.edu. Check it out. You'll like what you find. Speaking of things that boys like to do, I'm sure Beth will agree with this. Kids Dig It is coming up. It's brought to you by Wallace Truck and Equipment. Kids get out and ride bulldozers and front end loaders, all that kind of stuff. That sounds like fun. We'll have them in to tell you about that next, right after this. More of the Morning Drive right here on News Talk 105.9. This is WVGA.
More of the Morning Drive with Chris Beckham is coming up on News Talk 105.9 WVGA. Stream us online at WVGA 105.